Willow Creek Estates prided itself on perfection. Manicured lawns stretched like emerald carpets, houses gleamed with fresh paint, and the air hummed with the quiet hum of affluent suburban life. But beneath the polished veneer, a different kind of current flowed, the undercurrent of the Homeowners Association, specifically embodied by Karen Periwinkle. Karen was not just a board member, she was the self-appointed gavel, the high priestess of property values, her beady eyes missing nothing, her voice a relentless drill sergeant commanding conformity. Her latest target, Ilara Vance, knew it was only a matter of time before the hammer fell. Ilara's house, nestled at the lowest point of Willow Creek, was a charming split-level property that had been surprisingly affordable. The reason for its affordability, Ilara soon discovered, was its unique, hydrogeological destiny. It was the natural catch basin for a significant portion of the community's runoff. When Ilara bought the property, she had already done her homework. She had read the horror stories, the cautionary tales of OA nightmares. Knowing this, her first major renovation wasn't about granite countertops or a walk-in closet, it was a state-of-the-art, high-capacity drainage system. The system was robust, a network of underground pipes leading to an exposed, tiered runoff channel that gracefully guided water away from her foundation and into a community retention pond further down the valley. It was efficient, environmentally sound, and, most importantly, visible. A necessary evil, but an obvious one. And that, Karen Periwinkle declared, was the problem. Miss Vance. Karen had begun during Ilara's first OA meeting, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. While we appreciate your dedication to water management, the exposed concrete channel and those industrial-looking grates are quite an eyesore. They detract from the aesthetic integrity of Willow Creek. Ilara, armed with architectural plans, engineering reports, and a patient smile, had countered, "Mrs. Periwinkle, this system isn't merely for my property. It was designed and approved by the city's engineering department, as the primary drainage solution for an estimated 30% of the community's runoff, particularly for the houses on Redwood Drive and Birch Lane, which sit upstream from mine. Due to the natural topography, my property serves as the main collection point. Hiding it or reducing its capacity would lead to significant flooding for the entire lower section of the neighborhood." She had even brought a topographical map, highlighting the gentle slope that funneled water directly to her home. Karen had merely sniffed, adjusting her spectacles. "Nonsense. We have lovely storm drains. Our engineers would never design something so prominent. It looks like a municipal sewage plant." The board, intimidated by Karen's notoriously litigious nature, and her deep pockets, had sided with her, issuing a formal notice of non-compliance. Ilara was ordered to screen or disguise the system, or face escalating fines. Ilara refused. The system was code-compliant, necessary, and designed with community impact in mind. She knew the consequences of tampering with it. From that day forward, Ilara became Karen's personal crusade. Karen would drive past slowly, sometimes stopping to point and whisper to her equally imperious passenger, Mrs. Henderson. Flyers about unsightly structures mysteriously appeared in mailboxes. Ilara, however, was prepared. Her house was a fortress of surveillance. Discreet security cameras, motion-activated and high-definition, were tucked under eaves, behind bushes, even disguised as garden ornaments, covering every inch of her property, especially the crucial drainage channel. She had footage of Karen idling outside her house, of Mrs. Henderson taking photos, of a groundskeeper, presumably on Karen's orders, accidentally trimming her hydrangea geese too short. The fines began to roll in. $50 for the exposed concrete. $100 for failure to address non-compliance. Ilara meticulously documented every notice, every payment, every interaction, saving it all in a dedicated digital folder labeled Karen v. Ilara, The Drainage Wars. She knew this was a long game. Then came the spring rains. Not a deluge, but a steady, persistent downpour that lasted for 2 days. Ilara's drainage system worked flawlessly, channeling the water efficiently. But a few days later, a new, more sinister issue arose. Ilara noticed a faint, off-white residue near the main intake grate of her drainage channel. It looked like dried mortar, or worse, concrete. She knelt, examining it closely. A small lump of hardened concrete was wedged deep within one of the primary grates, reducing its flow. Alarm bells rang. This wasn't natural. She immediately reviewed her camera footage. She fast-forwarded through hours of mundane recordings, squirrels chasing each other, delivery trucks, neighborhood kids on bikes. Then, in the early hours of Monday morning, around 2:00 a.m., a figure materialized in the dim glow of her security lights. It was Karen Periwinkle. Karen was dressed in dark clothing, a wide-brimmed hat pulled low, and work gloves. She carried a 5-gallon bucket and a trowel. Ilara watched, stomach churning, as Karen knelt by the crucial drainage grate. The footage, clear as day, showed Karen methodically scooping a thick, gray mixture from the bucket and pushing it deep into the drainage channel's opening, then smoothing over the top with her trowel, attempting to make it look like natural debris or simply blend in with the existing concrete. She did this not once, but repeatedly, for nearly 20 minutes, before cleaning her tools and scurrying away like a rat in the night. Ilara felt a cold, hard resolve settle in her chest. Karen hadn't just tried to block her view, she had tried to block the community's vital infrastructure. Ilara saved the clip, backing it up to multiple cloud servers and a secure external drive. The next week, the heavens opened. A torrential downpour, a proper Pacific Northwest deluge, descended upon Willow Creek Estates. Ilara's upgraded system, impaired by Karen's sabotage, struggled. Water began to pool in her yard, creeping dangerously close to her foundation. But Ilara wasn't the only one. Within hours, calls began flooding the OA. Redwood Drive and Birch Lane, the very streets Ilara had warned about, were experiencing unprecedented flooding. Basements became swimming pools. Gardens turned into murky ponds. Water seeped under doors, ruined carpets, and damaged drywall. The storm drains were overwhelmed, but the real bottleneck, unseen by most, was Ilara's partially clogged main drainage. The OA board, now genuinely panicked, dispatched a team to investigate. They found the concrete blockage in Ilara's system, and the sheer volume of water made it immediately clear that this was no accidental obstruction. As furious homeowners from Redwood and Birch gathered, their faces etched with disbelief and anger at their ruined homes, Ilara stepped forward, a calm, steel glint in her eyes. She didn't accuse immediately, she simply stated, "I have something you all need to see." She shared the video. The gasp that went through the crowd was palpable. Karen Periwinkle, high priestess of property values, caught red-handed, committing an act of calculated sabotage that had wrought havoc on her own community. The silence that followed was broken only by the dripping of water from saturated eaves and the quiet sobs of a woman whose entire finished basement was now a write-off. The fallout was swift and brutal. Ilara's lawyer, a sharp woman named Ms. Albright who specialized in property disputes, wasted no time. A lawsuit was filed against Karen Periwinkle, citing vandalism, malicious destruction of property, and gross negligence leading to significant financial damages. The video footage was the smoking gun. But Ilara wasn't alone. The homeowners from Redwood Drive and Birch Lane, seeing the irrefutable evidence and facing thousands upon thousands in damages, swiftly joined the legal fray. They filed separate, but coordinated, lawsuits against Karen. The Periwinkle family, accustomed to commanding respect and fear, found themselves pariahs, ostracized by the very community Karen had claimed to protect. The legal proceedings were brutal for Karen. Her initial denials crumbled under the weight of the high-definition video. Her attempts to claim it was merely debris or that Ilara had somehow rigged the cameras were laughed out of court. Expert witnesses testified to the engineering necessity of Ilara's drainage, and the precise, malicious nature of the blockage. The judge, clearly appalled, ruled against Karen on every count. She was ordered to pay Ilara Vance for the damage to her property, for the cost of removing the concrete, and a substantial sum for emotional distress. But that was just the beginning. The collective damages sought by the other homeowners, for their flooded basements, ruined valuables, and structural repairs amounted to a staggering sum. Lawsuits became liens, and liens became foreclosures. Karen Periwinkle, the woman who dictated the perfect lawn length, and the acceptable color of a male slot, lost everything. Her meticulously perfect house, once the envy of Willow Creek, was put up for sale by court order. Willow Creek Estates was never truly the same. The disaster, born from one person's unchecked obsession with control and aesthetics over function, served as a stark, watery reminder. The OA board underwent a complete overhaul. Ilara Vance, once a pariah, was now quietly respected, her pragmatic foresight tragically vindicated. Her drainage system, once deemed an eyesore, was now recognized for what it truly was, a vital, unsung hero, silently protecting the homes of Willow Creek. And Ilara, always vigilant, kept her cameras rolling, just in case. After all, you never truly knew when another Karen might bloom.